Okay, so I didn't take a nap. I'm still tired. However, I'm looking at a beautiful woman's ass, and it's wearing an Iron Maiden costume or t-shirt. I don't know what to call it. Cowboy jacket like thing. Anyway, I will find a way to make that the thumbnail for this video just so you can enjoy. However, it's reminding me of the Iron Maiden tattoo story. This was, oh, what year was this? This is like '09. I was a wee tea baby Ray Ray, and I was going to community college because it was free. Long and complicated story, but basically there was a thing where if you were in Tulsa County and had good enough grades, you got free community college. So I went and did that shit. And the community college I went to was in downtown Tulsa, and it was walking distance from a place called Fat Phillies. And here our story begins. uh, I had always seen this place on the way to school and decided, hey, I'm going to go in between classes, just walk over there and get a sandwich and eat there and see what it's like. And this was, I was 18 and fresh faced and a little church kid going to community college. I was me on the inside, but that's what I appeared to be on the outside, just to paint a story for you who don't know me very well. The Fat Phillies place was a Philly cheesesteak sandwich shop, and it was like a block over and a block down from the school. So it's really not that far at all. I was like, I'll just walk. So I walk over there and I walk in, and let me describe this place for you. On the outside of the building, it is a kind of yellow building with a red, green, and black sign that it looks kind of all run down and shitty. And it looks like it used to be I don't know. It used to be a different building. You go inside, and it occurs to you that this used to be a bar. Okay. You go to the bar uh, to order your Philly cheesesteak, and then you're in a line now. You're standing in this line, and around you is a collection of the who's of most of the pirate crews you've ever seen in like Disney movies. They are some haggard looking fucking people. Like they're missing legs and arms and eyes and shit, and like they're smoking dope, not weed, dope at the back of the place. There is a Bob Marley lion hanging on the wall. The music playing overhead is a Bob Marley song. Think something between I Shot the Sheriff and Three Little Birds. The person working the register is smoking what looks to be a cigar, but is a joint. And they're just slinging sandwiches out like crazy. And I'm standing in this line watching this, and I'm wearing an Iron Maiden t-shirt because I'm me, right? And it was the Trooper, and it was a cool one. And I had some pirate-looking guy walk up to me and go, "Hey, you like Iron Maiden?" Yeah. And he's like, "Check this out." And he like pulled his shirt up and his pants down, and there's an Iron Maiden like Eddie tattoo all over from like his dick to like his tits. And I was just like, man, that's fucking cool. And he walked off laughing. And I'm just like, holy fuck, where did I go to get a sandwich? So I get up to the register and it's, yeah, man, what would you want? I'm like, give me two. I didn't say that. I didn't give me a large chili beef steak. The give me two for those not in the reference. That's what's his name? Gary Busey in Point Break wants two cheesesteaks when Utah goes into the gas station or something like that. Give me two, Utah. I don't know why that occurs to me, but that's what weed does to your brain. Kids, don't smoke. Uh, the people in this place were like the most motley looking crew of people you've ever seen, running the establishment wise and the patrons of the place wise. The running the establishment place wise, there's like a couple of cute little redheads that are like running sandwiches back and forth that look to be sisters. A big black guy working the cash register who looks like he doesn't get robbed. And then like a whole bunch of old hippie looking dudes back in the back just hired in balls making sandwiches. In the parlor of this place, as I, take my number and my drink and go sit down, I'm sitting at a Budweiser table on Marlboro chairs, and the fucking table is just like wiggity woggity. Like, it's not like it needs a piece of like cardboard shoved under it. It needs like 8 pieces of cardboard shoved under each of the feet. Like, obviously, this thing has been fallen on a few times. There's been a few bar fights in this thing's life. Anyway, I set my number and my drink on this table that spins around on the floor. I sit down in the chair that says somebody here smokes a lot of cigarettes. And I start waiting for my food. And as I'm like just sitting there watching, like, I realize they are all Iron Maiden tattoo guy, except for the ones that aren't. There's like me in there and a few other people that are obviously college students from the campus. And then there's like businessmen from all over downtown eating in there, trading fucking stories with the homeless guys that eat there every day. Like, no shit. Like, hey, Bob, how are you? Yeah, whatever. Like, for whatever reason, everybody went there. Everybody got good food, and it was fucking affordable. And like, maybe the health code probably could have been enforced there a little bit better. It was great though. And the best part, they were open from 12 midnight to 4 a.m. every weekend with live music. Like, I think they had a music kind of beer party that started outside around 10 o'clock, and then they started making sandwiches around midnight. It's one of the coolest fucking businesses I've ever been in. And it totally didn't survive as that. Eventually someone had to buy it to save them from taxes, I believe, and then pay their taxes and then get them a better building, and they bought a different old bar across town, and it's cool. I'll talk about it sometime, but it's a little bit of a different thing now than it was. But the Fat Phillies that I am talking to you about in Tulsa existed for several decades, and it is the kind of place that like the post-COVID world would freak the fuck out about. And I ate lunch there almost every day after that. Iron Maiden tattoo guy is named Jimmy. And like a lot of the homeless people in there, Some were homeless, legitimately, and they came there because people would just buy them a sandwich because it was cheap. And like, I think pretty much half of the people in there bought more than one sandwich. It was like $5, $7, something like that to eat there. Like if you were hungry, you went and hung out at Fat Phillies because like the other people that went in there were blue collar people that looked just like you that would buy you food. They were college students that, if you got cool with, might buy you food. And they were businessmen that if you got cool with, they might buy you food. And like that is, what America is. I don't know what the rest of this fucking country is turning into. But like half of it is the sandwich doesn't cost $5 anymore. And half of it is they've divided us. Like, honestly, I think if I went and opened up that Fat Billy's building and started doing that same thing today, that would happen again. Because people would remember. You go to Fat Phillies now, they still got the Rasta lion on the wall. They still got people that smoke weed employed there. But it is not the pirate bar of Tulsa that also sells Philly cheesesteaks. Like people like to talk about Philly cheesesteaks in Philadelphia. We have a couple of places here in Tulsa that do Philly cheesesteaks. One of them I would not consider to be all of that good, but it is its own thing, kind of. It's almost like McDonald's isn't really a hamburger. It's kind of like that. Fat Phillies is pretty goddamn good. It's not really a true Philadelphia cheesesteak thing. It They use cheese whiz. So if you're a whiz person, it's whiz, and they got onions and peppers and steak, and they got a couple of different sauces that you can do. It's just good. It's been it since forever. The food hasn't changed. It has gotten a little more expensive. I think it's basically doubled. I think it's like $13 or $14 for a sandwich now. And that was the thing is back in the day, the $5 sandwich was a normal size sandwich, and the $7 one could feed three people probably, at least two. I don't know. That was a cool place. It was a cool time in my life, at least, and I thought it was worth sharing, especially getting flashed almost dick to tits by some guy just to show you his Iron Maiden tattoo. The place that was on was like a big lot, and it was on the corner of it, and then out back was kind of a field that no one had ever done anything with. And they had a kind of bullshit wooden stage put up back there and a bunch of trash cans, put beer cans in. And that's, they put a band out there and just, partied on. If you want to know what's going to happen after the world ends, that. And the reason I say that is because anywhere where I am, those old hippie dudes making the sandwiches are going to have an army of people like me that just make you do what they say. That's kind of my thing with most things in life is I am not the one that should really be in charge of anything. I should be the king. You should just keep me over there on a throne or whatever and let me decide matters of judgment or something like that and like you guys run yourselves. Like I think that's kind of where like the royalty got to, and that's like the Pope and shit. Like I'm going to devote myself to spiritual matters. You guys figure your shit out. I'm tired of doing this. I miss that place. I think I'm gonna go have a sandwich from there soon now. It does still have some of the charm of the old place. If you walk into the new one, the people that built the new one were people that were doing that shit with me, and they built a very nice homage. It's a better one. They built it better. It can endure now. The other one would never have endured. That building is probably condemned now. But man, like that was the coolest place to eat lunch. And like it felt like you were in a big city or something like that. It felt like you were in New York, but not. Obviously not by the clientele. Because like in downtown Tulsa, for those who don't know, you if you're in certain parts of it, all you can see is skyscrapers. And that's pretty much where this was. It's on the outskirts of that. I had to walk from the skyscraper I was going to school in um, out to where this place was. So it was kind of just outside of that little cluster of shit. And that's how it did so much business. And honestly, I think half the reason that they stayed afloat as long as they did was because the mayor ate there, the police chief ate there. You make a good enough sandwich and you don't fuck with people too much and you just do a thing, like you can get away with a lot. I don't remember exactly what it was that shut them down, but it was like everything all at once because eventually you need fucking health codes and shit and other things. Like it sucks. But I don't think it was health code shit that shut them down. Now that I think about it, I think it was taxes. It's kind of interesting how it's always taxes that shut cool shit down, isn't it? Like the way that I feel about this place is almost kind of the way that I hear like Joe Rogan talk about like the pool halls he went to or like the comedy store or whatever. And this was just a bullshit place to get lunch. And like I was in there for all of maybe 15 or 20 minutes at a go. And it was just some place to sit and wait for your sandwich, eat your sandwich, and talk to people and go. And like it wasn't like, hey, they were just a bunch of people like uh, bumming for money outside or whatever. It was, there was a whole bunch of dudes that just were hanging around out at the back talking shit and whatever, shooting shit and eating sandwiches. And some of those were guys that needed a free sandwich. And when you start being the person that doesn't fucking help someone when they need a free sandwich, that's where we get to now. It's the whole world is just me, me, me. And like one of the things a lot of people don't get about me is I really believe some Native American-y shit. And like Sitting Bull nursed from the breast of every mother. He called every warrior father, he called every older warrior grandfather, and he called every woman mother. And he didn't eat until all of them ate. Always. This is the way. If you're really going to be the one in charge, it has to be the way. And like I think that's what this is anymore is just me giving lectures on leadership and fellowship and other shit like that, hoping that one of our politicians eventually watches this shit. Because no one would ever elect me in a million billion fucking years. I can tell you why. Like, my response to fucking the Ukraine invasion would have been to nuke North Korea and then send Putin an invitation to a negotiation. It's a little spicy for most people's taste. That's why I'm saying I shouldn't be in charge of a government. Like, no way. Like, no one should really be king. But at the same time, you still need the dude with a bat to go in and clean up Congress every now and then. That's what they have in England, really. That's, if we could envy them one thing, it's that they kept their fucking rich overlord as the emergency parachute to be like, fuck it, we can't do it. Come be a dictator for 10 years. That is ultimately, if shit went to pot there, that's what they could do. And I think that's a very interesting thing to have. And that's very Roman. Like, that is an evolution out of the Roman Empire in reality, because, like, when the Senate became corrupt, Julius Caesar went and got a fucking legion and went and fucking killed them all. It's like an emperor. And, like, say what you will about him, the politics were different after that. That's all I'm saying. Well, the Iron Maiden tattoo is still the funniest part of that story to me. And I'll never forget Jimmy. Thanks for watching.